And welcome to the Nokia Lumia 920 review. Today we're going to be looking at the flagship handset from Nokia, which is a successor to the Nokia Lumia 900 of last year. Now with the new HD screen, the build quality, the new processor set, and the 8.7 megapixel PureView camera, can it compete with Android and iOS today? Let's find out. Let's start with specs. This comes with a 1280 by 768 IPS HD display, polarization, 600 nit brightness, 332 ppi, and a 15 by 9 ratio. It comes with a micro SIM card slot, a 3.5mm headphone jack, and a microphone up top. On the right side, you see volume rocker switches, the power button, and a dedicated camera key, which is a requirement for all Windows 8 phones. On the bottom, you see speakers, a micro USB port for charging and data connectivity, and the screws to hold it all together. And on the opposite side, you see absolutely nothing. Now, on the bottom, you see 3 capacitive keys, the back, the Windows button, and the search. On the front of the device, you're hit with the HD front-facing camera, the earpiece, and 4G LTE connectivity for super fast data. The back of the device houses an 8.7 megapixel PureView camera with f2.0 and 26mm wide-angle lens, and it's all powered by a 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 dual-core processor with 1 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. Now the 920 is not a thin device, it's about the same thickness as an iPhone 5 with a case on it. If you compare it with an iPhone 5 without a case, then the 920 looks like it can shed a few pounds. But regardless of the thickness and weight of this device, it feels very solid in the hand. Now let's talk about Windows Phone 8 on this phone, and it absolutely flies on the new S4 processor. It was never a slouch before, even on 7.5, but Windows Phone really flies. But let's talk about call quality before we can get into anything else, because if it doesn't make good phone calls, it's really not worth anything. I hate to report, but I thought the call quality was just average. And I really thought that the 900 had better phone quality. The speaker is a little low for my taste, and the call quality was a little bit muted. And even the people on the other line could tell that I was on a cell phone. This is very unexpected from this handset for me, for the Lumia 900 had really good call quality. And now, the phone quality does not stink on this phone whatsoever. It's good enough to use for a daily driver, the voices are distinct enough, but the voices still sounded a bit muted to me, and they definitely need to pump up the earpiece a little bit. And I also thought that the speakerphone had the exact same performance, because the speakers are very loud when you're playing media, but when you're on a call and you put it on a speakerphone, it really does not sound that loud, and the voices still sound muted. Hopefully they can rectify this in a software update, and they very well could. Now, the build quality on this phone is amazing, and it was amazing on the 900 and it's still amazing now. Nokia knows how to build a handset. That curved glass, that polycarbonate plastic, it is very, very nice. And the curved screen is great because when you're flicking through and then you're swiping through the menus, it is just flawless. But the one thing is it has some really, really sharp corners, and it doesn't feel good in the hand when you have it lower on the device. Now let's talk about the browser quality on the 920, and you can see here that the browser performance is flawless, and I think it's great. It's fast at rendering, the pinch to zoom performance is fantastic, and I don't think you'll be disappointed at all with this new mobile browser. This phone was a pleasure rendering web pages on the 4G LTE network on AT&T. It was very fast throughout. If you're not familiar with the Windows Phone platform, then let me go over the home screen. And you can see that there are live tiles flipping and updating all the time, and this is unique to this mobile OS. And I have to give them credit for making it iconic and making it look much different than Android and iOS. And you can see how there's people, me, and photos, and everything's flipping through, and that is very nice to see that on your home screen. Now let's talk about what makes this 920 different than the other Windows phones on the market. And you can see here Nokia Drive is included, and what makes this awesome is that you can go into the settings here and have a bunch of different options. You can change the map colors, you can manage the speed limit, and you can change the navigation voice. So you have a lot of choices here. But what's also cool is that you can manage your maps. So if you don't want to use the data or anything like that, and you can just pick where you live, and you can pick, let's say if you lived in the US, and you wanted an entire state like California, you can download that entire map and not use data. And here is Nokia Maps, and it works fairly well. You can search wherever you need to go and hit that, and you can get the about, the numbers, you can get directions to it, and whatever you want to, and it's integrated as well. So you can go ahead and get spoken turn-by-turn directions to that destination that you need. You just hit that car button right there, and if you flip up, you can see Start Navigation. You just hit that button, and simple enough, you're ready to go. The one thing you need to make sure you do is to close out hitting back, for that GPS will continue to run. Maps plus beta runs in the background. So if you don't back out of it properly, that GPS will continue to run and it will run your battery down. So make sure you close out properly. We also have Nokia Music, which is kind of like a Pandora competitor that is exclusive to Nokia phones. So if you look here, you can flip through and look at the mix radio and hit any of those stations if you want to, and it'll start playing a preloaded list of music. And here you can see the gigs that are around in your area. So if you want to watch a concert, that's cool. You can have your own music there. There's a store, so you can buy music as well, but you're limited to 6 skips like other music programs such as Pandora. But it's a nice addition. It looks nice. It uses that same look and feel, and I like it. If you're a movie fan, then Nokia has a trailers app where you can look at all the new movies coming out. And you can go ahead and search like any other trailers app, and it looks very nice in this UI. And you can go into that movie if you want to, and you can stream it in lower quality, or you can just download it straight to your device for higher quality. And it works very well. For all you Instagram lovers, then here is Nokia's little answer. You can have this app running, and you can just pick a picture, and you can just put on different filters. And it's not live, but you can take a picture that you've already taken and apply a filter to it. You tap it, it's that easy, and it's a good alternative. Now, everyone's making a big deal out of Panorama, so Nokia has an answer to that as well on their 920, where they include an app. So you just hold the phone steady and just follow the little light there, and you hit that circle, and it'll take it. And as easy as that, you just hit it, and it'll stitch that panorama for you. Pretty easy to use. Now let's talk about Xbox Music and videos, and this is an integration of Xbox's services for their music, and this is what they changed it to. And you can see that there's history, new, this is just basically a place for you to buy music and to keep all your music congregated together. There's Xbox Smart Glass, and with 32 gigabytes of storage, now you know you have plenty of room to put some of your music on. Now for some people, they need an SD card expansion because they have a lot of music. But for me, 32 gigabytes is always enough. But you can see through here that it has good album art, it's a good player, and I've always enjoyed this UI. Now for you Xbox fans, the Windows Phone platform has always supported Xbox, the gamer tags, and your scores, and you can keep up with that as well. And you have Xbox Smart Glass, which changes your phone into kind of a remote situation, and it does a lot more. And there's a spotlight and games. So if you like the Xbox, you'll like this phone. So there's some cool apps on here. It doesn't come with a stock YouTube app, but this Metro Tube is very cool. It uses that same UI, and I like this a lot, and I recommend you download this for your Windows phone, for it does not come with a stock YouTube app. It looks like it does, but it just basically directs you right to the mobile site, but I really like Metro Tube. Now you can see with me and the notifications, it's nice because everything is congregated into one. Your Twitter, your Facebook, everything is congregated into one place on the Me tab. So you can just go into here and not worry about going into a bunch of different programs, which is very cool. And I like that. And you can see with mail as well, it's very easy. You can have unified boxes, unread, flag, and urgent is like VIP on the iPhone. It works very well with Exchange as well. So no problems with email on that front. Now let's talk about the battery life on the 920. I say the 920 has an average battery. It lasts about 9 hours or so. Me having LTE connected, checking emails, playing a few games here and there, and watching YouTube videos, it could last me about 9 hours. But that's why they include the wireless charging plate to make it a little bit easier for you to charge the device throughout. But if you're looking to have an all-day battery, if you dim the screen and if you take precautions, you might be able to make it through a day. But just make sure you have a charger handy. And I also wanted to note that the device does heat up pretty good when you're using LTE and streaming a video or doing processor intensive stuff. It tends to get a little warm on the back. Nothing too terrible though. Now let's take a look at this camera, and you can see you can just tap the screen to take a shot, or you can use the dedicated camera key up top. And be sure to check out my camera performance videos in the daytime and nighttime, and those are pretty comprehensive, and especially with the 1080p video. So make sure you take a look at those. Now let's take a look at a few sample shots taken from the 920 during the day. And you can see that the depth of field is good and the details are pretty good as well. But I think you'll notice in some shots the detail is not as sharp as some of the leading cameras out there. And I think there's a firmware update coming, but as of this video, I haven't received it yet. And there's the Canon cap that I took a picture of during the video. But I think you will enjoy this camera. Now here is a look at the new lock screen features for photos on the lock screen. You can see that certain apps now are able to access the lock screen pictures. So if you here and choose Bing, then you will get new Bing pictures every single day. And if you like to switch up your wallpaper, that's a pretty cool way. And Facebook and other apps also have this access. But to be sure, remove this stuff from the background. And what I like about Windows Phone 8 is now that you can kill those background tasks or hit block on them. So if something's eating up your battery, then go ahead and block that if you don't need that functionality. And I really like that. And yes, Windows Phone 8 does have voice control, but it's nothing near as extensive as Siri or Google Now. But it can still call people, send a text, they can still search web. So it can do your necessary stuff. Just don't expect Siri or Google Now. The Nokia Lumia 920 is a great phone, but it does have its quirks as well, like the vibration motor. It is extremely loud. And if you had a 900 before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's got that rattle to it, but I think it has to do with maybe the PureView camera this time having the springs holding the camera sensor in place. It could be that. And I have had a few force quits and a couple screen freezes in between, but I think a firmware update could really fix that as well. But overall, I really enjoyed using this handset. With apps like OneNote and Microsoft Office included, the amazing build quality with the polycarbonate plastic and the curved HD screen, the 8.7 megapixel PureView camera which performs well in the light and in the dark, the modern dual-core processor, and the improvements made in Windows Phone 8 make this a no-brainer if you are looking for a Windows Phone 8 handset. It is definitely the best one out there. So leave your comments below and let me know what you think. Subscribe today and hit like if you love this video and help other people find this video. And thank you for watching and thank you for your support.